You might have heard some shrieking and freaking lately about a gas crisis. Out of nowhere, we're told, there's suddenly no gas to be found in Eastern Australia for love nor money. Won't somebody think of the freezing grannies? But hang on, Australia is mining more gas than ever before. Production has leapt up. What's the story? I'll tell you what. About 6 years ago, our numpty Queensland and Commonwealth governments gave 3 huge gas consortiums 3 loose approvals to build 3 giant LNG terminals in Gladstone. Their plan was to mine coal seam gas in southern Queensland and convert it to LNG, something no one else had ever done before. They rolled out dangerous CSG throughout Queensland, causing havoc in local farming communities and hiking the gas price to the international market for the first time. They promised huge supplies of gas to contracts with foreign companies, contracts nobody else has ever seen. They linked the Australian gas market to the global market, which immediately hiked the price that everybody here has to pay. For the first time, greedy gas companies are commandeering international prices for Australian gas. 5 years later, Australia is making more gas than ever before. We're about to become the world's biggest exporter of gas. Manufacturers that rely on gas to make things and grannies who need gas to get them through the winter are paying through the nose and can't get any guaranteed supply. The gas companies have tripled demand, so now they're vacuuming up the gas from the Bass Strait that the rest of us used to use. They're piping it up to Gladstone and processing it into LNG, which uses heaps of energy, and then they're shipping it to Japan. But that's not the craziest thing, because it turns out that Japan and those other countries don't want all the gas that they thought they needed and that they've contracted to buy. The global market is awash with gas. Everybody's got more than they need and the prices collapsed, except for the Australian manufacturers and grannies who are paying through the nose and struggling to buy gas at all while we're in the middle of a gas boom. That's not even the craziest thing, because it turns out the coal seam gas has done a lot of damage in Queensland, and farmers in Victoria and New South Wales, and pastoralists and traditional owners in the Northern Territory have checked out what happened and have gone, whoa, we're not sure we want industrial gas fields rolled out across our farmlands. Well, these journalists from Sydney and Melbourne and politicians from Canberra are saying there's a big old supply crisis, and those farmers in Victoria and New South Wales and the pastoralists in the Northern Territory need to lie down and let the gas companies do to their land what they've done to Queensland, and we need to frack the Never Never and build a big pipeline and fill Eastern Australia with more gas. And meanwhile, in Queensland, they're expanding and building more and more gas fields, and somehow we're still hearing that we're in the middle of a supply crisis. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that opening up the countryside to more fracking is not going to do anything to bring down prices while we're linked to the international market. AGL is talking about importing gas to the East Coast. Some people have even suggested that they might go to Japan and get the excess gas that we've exported to them, which we've drawn up from the Bass Strait, and bring it all the way back down here to supply AGL's domestic customers who can't get any gas because the export market has sucked it all away. If there's a crisis, then it's the fault of the greedy gas companies who are sucking Australia dry and demanding that our governments open up more of our countryside to fracking to make more and more money for them. If there's a crisis, then it's the fault of our governments who can't seem to bring themselves to make sure that all this gas that we're mining is made available for Australians for Australian use. Share this video and make sure you're not letting the pollies and gas companies get away with blaming farmers for a crisis that's entirely of their own making. Support the campaign to protect the Territory, the Pilliga and farmland in Victoria and Queensland from more fracking.